Most men think loyalty is about love, but they have no idea how easily a woman can cheat and still feel justified. Yes, I said it. And before you start getting defensive, hear me out. This isn't about bashing women, and it's not about blaming men either. It's about waking up to reality. Because too many men are walking around in a fantasy, completely unaware of how female psychology actually works when it comes to cheating. Here's the cold truth. Women don't cheat the same way men do. It's not just about lust or looks. It's deeper. It's psychological, emotional, and sometimes even strategic. And if you, as a man, don't understand what's really going on beneath the surface, you'll never see it coming. You'll be sitting in your house, thinking everything's fine, while her attention is already somewhere else, or worse, someone else. Let's be clear, not all women cheat, but when they do, it's rarely random. There are patterns, there are triggers, and if you're not paying attention to them, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position, emotionally, financially, even mentally. But here's the twist. The same things that make a woman loyal can also be the exact reasons why she ends up cheating. That's what makes this conversation so uncomfortable, so raw, and so necessary. This video isn't about pointing fingers. It's about educating men. Because the more you understand what causes women to cheat, the better you can protect your peace, lead your relationship properly, and avoid heartbreak that could have been prevented. You don't need to become paranoid. You need to become aware. So today, I'm breaking down the 3 core psychological triggers that push women to cheat. These aren't random guesses or recycled internet myths. This is about real patterns rooted in psychology, behavior, and brutally honest truths. Shot 1. She feels emotionally starved. You can give her money, attention, gifts, even sex, but if she doesn't feel emotionally fed, it won't matter. A woman will start to mentally detach long before she physically cheats, and when that emotional void isn't filled, she begins to look for it elsewhere, sometimes quietly, sometimes boldly. Here's the mistake most men make. They think providing equals connecting. You go to work, pay bills, come home. You think you're doing everything right. But if you're emotionally unavailable, distracted, or just too tired to listen, she feels invisible. And when a woman feels invisible, someone else just has to see her. That's it. One long conversation with a man who listens can do more damage than 10 arguments. Women cheat with the man who made her feel understood, not just desired. This is why you might hear a woman say, "It just happened," because she didn't plan it like a mission. It built up over time. A few vulnerable conversations here, a little emotional comfort there, until she felt safer with him than she did with you. That's when it's game over. A lot of men confuse emotional intimacy with weakness, so instead of connecting, they stay guarded, distant. They bottle everything up. But a woman reads that as cold and uninterested. And when she starts to believe you're emotionally checked out, she slowly checks out too, just in a different way. Now here's the part no one likes to admit. She might not even want to cheat. She just wants to feel seen, feel valued, feel like she matters again. And if you're not filling that space, someone else might. Not because they're better, but because they were present. This is why communication isn't optional. It's survival. Ask real questions. Actually listen. Stop giving surface-level attention. Because emotional distance is silent, but it's deadly. You want to keep her loyal. Feed her mind, not just her body. Be emotionally consistent, not just physically present. Don't just show up, tune in. 2. She thinks you're weak. A woman might love you, respect you, and still leave you, or cheat, if she starts to see you as weak. Not physically, not financially, but mentally, emotionally, and in your leadership. Let's be honest, women are attracted to strength. Not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet, grounded, unshakable type. The type of strength that says, I know who I am and I'm not afraid to lead. When that disappears, so does a lot of her desire. See, strength to a woman looks like decisiveness, boundaries, direction. If you're constantly second-guessing yourself, if you can't stand on your word, if you're begging for her approval or walking on eggshells, she's going to lose trust in your leadership. And when trust breaks down, attraction fades. When attraction fades, loyalty wobbles. It's harsh, but real. When a woman starts viewing you like a little boy instead of a man, her body won't follow your lead anymore. She may still care about you. She may even feel guilty about her drifting loyalty. But emotionally, she's already started backing away. And that's the danger. Because the moment another man shows up who displays more certainty, more vision, more backbone, her instincts react. Not because she's evil or heartless, but because women are wired to respond to security, not just safety, but leadership. If you fold under pressure, avoid hard conversations, or need constant validation, you're signaling something loud. I can't handle my own world. How can I handle yours? You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be solid. Not cold, not controlling, just stable, consistent, confident in your direction, even if you're still figuring things out. Most men try to win her back with gifts or guilt. But what she really wants is your spine. Stand on your word. Lead with clarity. Stop being afraid of upsetting her. Because when a woman sees you as unshakable, she doesn't want to go anywhere. The truth? A woman will never fully follow a man she doesn't fully respect. And respect is earned, not begged for. 3. She doesn't respect you anymore. This one stings. But if you're honest with yourself, you might have felt it already. She doesn't argue like she used to. She doesn't listen like she used to. She doesn't even look at you the same. Why? Because the respect is gone. And once respect is gone, everything else starts falling apart. Quietly. Then suddenly. Women don't always leave the moment they lose respect. Some stay out of comfort, fear, or routine. But mentally, they're already detached. Their words get sharper. Their patience gets thinner. They start treating you like a burden instead of a man. You start noticing the sarcasm, the eye rolls, the fake smiles. And deep down, you know something's shifted, even if she hasn't said it out loud. Now here's the part most men don't want to hear. Respect isn't about how much you provide. It's about how much you command. And you command respect by who you are, not just what you give. She watched you tolerate disrespect. She saw you break your own word. She noticed you let other people walk over you. She clocked every time you avoided responsibility, made excuses, or blamed her for your own lack of growth. You thought she wasn't paying attention. She was. She always is. Respect doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes. Every time you fold when you should have stood firm. Every time you chose comfort over accountability. Every time you avoided a tough conversation just to keep the peace. A woman needs to feel like the man she's with can hold his own, in life, in conflict, in purpose. If she starts seeing you as passive, indecisive, or too nice to lead, that respect starts to slip. And once it slips far enough, cheating becomes a possibility, even if it's never happened before. Here's what's wild. She might still love you, but love without respect? It turns into pity, and no man wants to be pitied. So if she's treating you like you're optional, like your voice doesn't matter, or like she's already 1 foot out, don't blame her first. Look in the mirror. You don't rebuild her respect by talking. You do it by changing. In your energy, in your boundaries, in your standards. Because when a woman respects you again, everything else changes. Fuel 4, she's comparing you to someone else. Let's get uncomfortable for a second, because this one hits deep. She may be with you physically, but mentally, she's measuring you against someone else. It could be an ex, a coworker, even a fictional man on social media. And the worst part? You might not even know it's happening. Now, before you start getting defensive, understand this. Comparison doesn't always mean she wants someone else, but it does mean she's starting to question you. Question your value, your growth, your edge. And here's where men need to wake up. You're not just competing with other men, you're competing with how she felt around them. That emotion, that spark, that mental high. She's remembering it, replaying it. And slowly, it starts to shape how she looks at you. Men who stop evolving get replaced in her mind long before they get replaced in real life. Let's be real. Women are constantly exposed to other men's lives, energy and achievements, online, in real life, at work. If you've gotten lazy, complacent, or too predictable, her imagination will fill in the gaps, and that's dangerous. Because once she starts fantasizing, she's no longer fully present. She'll compare how he talks versus how you talk, how he dresses, how he carries himself, how ambitious he is. It becomes silent competition, and most men are losing without even knowing they're in the game. Now here's some truth for the men. Too many of you stopped leveling up after getting the girl. You got comfortable, stopped working on yourself, stopped challenging her, started treating the relationship like a finish line instead of the beginning. And women feel that. They feel the energy shift. They notice when you've stopped chasing purpose. And when she no longer feels inspired by you, she starts looking for that spark somewhere else, even if it's just in her thoughts. You don't have to be the richest, smartest, or best-looking man in the room. But you better be the one who's always becoming better. Not for her, but for yourself. Because once she starts comparing, you're already behind. And the only way to stop that comparison? Become undeniable. 5. She has options you don't know about. Here's the part a lot of men refuse to accept. She has more options than you think. And I don't just mean physically. I mean emotionally, mentally, even digitally. DMs, attention, subtle invites, they're everywhere. And most of them come without her even trying. Women today are surrounded by options, and not always obvious ones. Some are quiet, strategic, and waiting for their moment. A moment when you slip. A moment when she feels lonely. A moment when she starts feeling like, maybe I deserve better. It's not always about her actively searching. Sometimes it's just her noticing. Noticing who compliments her more than you do. Noticing who listens when you brush her off. Noticing who checks in on her mood when you barely ask how her day went. Men underestimate this because they assume that if she's loyal now, she'll stay loyal forever. But here's the truth. Loyalty isn't fixed. It's fed. And if you're not feeding it, through presence, purpose, strength, and vision, someone else will. Not because he's better, but because he's simply present at the right time. Now let's be real. This doesn't mean she's constantly looking to cheat. But when the relationship starts feeling dry, when she feels disconnected from you, when you're unavailable emotionally or mentally, her mind starts to drift. And if she has options, she starts comparing those options. And here's where men mess up big time. They stop pursuing her after they have her. You used to impress her, challenge her, flirt, lead. But now, you've become passive. And passive men create vacant space in a relationship. And vacant space always gets filled. You don't need to be jealous or paranoid. You need to be aware. Stop thinking she's loyal by default. She's loyal because she chooses to be. Every day. Make that choice easier for her. Keep leveling up. Stay sharp. Keep your edge. Because there are always other men waiting. and some of them only need a moment of weakness from you to slip in. She has options. The question is, are you still the best one? 6. She's bored, not busy. Let's be clear. Boredom is dangerous in a relationship, especially for a woman. When a woman gets bored, she doesn't always say it directly. She just starts checking out mentally. Her energy dips, her interest fades. Her phone becomes more interesting than your presence. Not because you're a bad guy, but because the spark is gone, and you didn't even notice it leaving. Here's what most men don't realize. Women crave emotional stimulation. They don't need you to be a clown, but they do need something to keep their mind engaged. A challenge, excitement, novelty, growth. If her days with you start feeling like a repetitive loop, same words, same energy, same routine, boredom kicks in, and boredom creates space. That space quickly turns into a breeding ground for curiosity, wandering thoughts, and eventually, risky behavior. Now let's get real. She's scrolling. She's watching other couples laugh, flirt, travel, grow. She's seeing women being adored, pursued, desired. And she's asking herself, why don't I feel like that anymore? Not because she's ungrateful, but because she's bored. A lot of men take that personally. They say, well, life isn't always exciting. True. But here's the difference. A woman will stay in a stable relationship even if it's boring, until someone shows her excitement and stability can coexist. And once she experiences both, it's very hard to go back to just being comfortable. You see, boredom isn't just about a lack of fun. It's about a lack of feeling alive. A lack of being seen, challenged, emotionally moved. So ask yourself, when's the last time you surprised her? When's the last time she laughed hard with you? When's the last time you asked her a question that actually made her think? You don't need money for this. You need intention. Wake her mind up again. Stir something. Because if she's not busy growing with you, she might start entertaining anything that makes her feel something. Men don't lose women to better men. They lose them to emotion. Don't let boredom be the silent killer. If she's bored, she's vulnerable. And if she's vulnerable, someone else can easily become the excitement you're not. 7. You're too available. This one's going to trigger some men, but it needs to be said. Being too available can actually make her lose interest. Not because she wants a toxic man, not because she wants to chase, but because over-availability kills polarity. See, women want presence, not pressure. They want to feel chosen, not smothered. But when you're always there, always texting, always calling, always saying yes, it starts to feel desperate. And nothing kills attraction faster than desperation. Here's the truth. No one told you. Mystery creates desire. Not games, not manipulation, just a little space to breathe. But when you're always accessible, always ready, always adjusting everything around her, she starts to lose that sense of masculine energy she was initially drawn to. It's not that she doesn't like you. It's that she doesn't have time to miss you. And if she never misses you, she stops valuing your presence. Men who are too available often fall into one trap, overgiving without being asked. You're doing too much, too fast, trying to prove your worth. But all she sees is a man who's too eager. And in her mind, if you're that available, you must not have much going on for yourself. And that's the shift. Because when a woman senses that your world revolves around her, she starts wondering why you don't have a world of your own. Real attraction is built through healthy tension, a push and pull, a presence and purpose. But when you remove the chase, the leadership, the direction, and become her emotional pet instead, it gets boring fast. She wants a man who can love her and still hold his own space. Someone who can be close without being clingy. Someone who can be there but doesn't need her to function. So don't confuse availability with value. Your time should feel earned, not expected. Your attention should be intentional, not automatic. Because when she feels like she has all of you, all the time, with no challenge, no mystery, no masculine edge, she starts craving what's missing. And often, that craving pulls her away from you. A man with purpose isn't always available, and that's exactly what makes him attractive. 8. She's still attached to her ex. This one's dangerous because it's usually invisible until it's too late. You think she's moved on. You think you're building something real. But deep down, she's still emotionally hooked to someone else. And it's not you. See, most women don't run back to their ex physically. They carry him emotionally, in their thoughts, in their comparisons, in their unresolved feelings. And when that attachment lingers, you become the rebound, even if it looks like a real relationship. You'll notice it in small things. She gets overly emotional about her past. She brings him up randomly, usually in harmless ways. Or she gets quiet when you ask about her old relationships. That's not healing. That's holding on. And here's where men slip up. You think you can love her out of that attachment. You overcompensate, thinking if you just treat her better than he did, she'll forget him. But that's not how emotional residue works. Because if her heart is still loyal to someone who's gone, she's not fully yours, no matter how available she is physically. This is why you can be doing all the right things and still feel like something's off. The connection doesn't go deep. The emotional walls stay up. She seems present, but distant. That's the ghost of her past, still in the room with both of you. And here's the truth most men ignore. If she hasn't healed, she's not ready. And if you try to build something serious with a woman still mentally tied to another man, you're setting yourself up to become her emotional band-aid, not her partner. It's not about being jealous. It's about being aware. Sometimes she's not cheating with her body, but with her memory. And emotional cheating is often the first step towards something real. You need to watch for signs, not to accuse her, but to protect yourself. Because a woman who hasn't let go of her past can't really give you her future. And no matter how good you are to her, you will never win a war against a man who's no longer even in her life, if she still hasn't closed the door. 9. She feels like she settled. This one is brutal, but it's real. A woman who feels like she settled will eventually start looking elsewhere, even if she doesn't mean to. Not every woman cheats because she's evil or cold. Sometimes she just can't shake the feeling that she deserves more passion, more leadership, more depth. And when that feeling grows, loyalty starts to shrink. At first, she might hide it. She'll try to convince herself she made the right choice. She'll tell her friends, he's a good guy. But deep down, she's replaying all the reasons she almost didn't choose you. And that's the danger. Because when a woman feels like she's settled, she doesn't see you as her best option. She sees you as her safe option. Here's how it happens. She met you when she was vulnerable, tired of games, or just looking for stability. You gave her consistency, attention, maybe even love, but something inside her never fully locked in. She chose security over spark, logic over emotion, comfort over chemistry. And on paper, it made sense. But now she's restless. She sees other women getting spoiled, pursued, challenged, and she starts thinking, did I choose wrong? And when that question lingers too long, she starts to answer it with actions, not just thoughts. Men, listen, this doesn't mean you're not valuable. It means you might not be living up to your full potential. And she senses that. She feels like she's with a man who could be so much more but isn't. And that gap between who you are and who you could be starts feeling like a mistake she made, not growth she believes in. This is why complacency is deadly. You can't stop evolving. You can't stop leading. You can't let her feel like she's dragging you through life while other women are being led into theirs. Because when she starts saying things like, "I wish you were more ambitious. I miss how things used to be. I just feel disconnected." She's not just venting. She's trying to tell you. She feels like she traded passion for peace, and now she wants both. And if you won't step into that role, someone else will. 10. She's secretly punishing you. This is the one nobody talks about, because it's not loud. It's not about revenge. It's not even always conscious. But sometimes, a woman cheats because she feels hurt, unhealed, and unheard. And deep down, she wants to make you feel it too. She might not say it. She might not scream or argue. But that resentment, that disappointment, that pain she tucked away while you ignored her feelings, dismissed her emotions, or betrayed her trust in subtle ways, it stays in her. And here's what happens. She starts to harden. She stops communicating her needs because you wouldn't listen anyway. She starts pulling back, checking out, and eventually seeking validation elsewhere, not just for attention, but for payback. It's not always calculated, but it is emotional justice. And here's the twist most men never see coming. You might not even know what you did wrong. Because the moment you brushed off her vulnerability, failed to defend her in front of others, made her feel small in an argument, or constantly prioritized everything over her, you planted a seed. And over time, that seed grew into emotional distance, then bitterness, and eventually betrayal. Cheating isn't always about attraction. Sometimes it's about expression. She couldn't scream. She couldn't cry anymore. So she acted. And here's the part that should wake every man up. She may still love you, but if she feels emotionally neglected or disrespected for long enough, cheating becomes her way of leveling the emotional playing field. It's her way of saying, "Now you know how I felt." This is why emotional awareness is not optional. It's survival. You can't keep brushing things off, thinking she'll get over it. You can't keep pretending that silence equals peace. Sometimes, silence is just her way of plotting her exit, or your payback. So ask yourself, what wounds have you ignored in her? What parts of her pain did you pretend didn't exist? Because a woman who cheats to punish you isn't proud of it, but she felt like you left her no choice. And if she's already gone that far, it means she's been hurting for a long, long time. Don't let your emotional blind spots cost you the very woman you say you love. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. A woman doesn't cheat when she's evil. She cheats when she's empty. And most men helped create that emptiness without even realizing it. Let that sink in. This isn't about blaming you for everything, but it is about making sure you stop blaming everything except yourself. Because if you ignore the signs, neglect the connection, and coast on autopilot, you can lose a woman who was once fully yours, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Now, I want to hear your side. Have you experienced this? Have you seen any of these signs in your relationship, past or present? Drop it in the comments. Don't hold back. I'll be going through every single one and responding directly, not just to debate, but to connect, to understand, to challenge both of us to grow, because this isn't just a video, it's a wake-up call. And if you felt something shift while watching this, good. That means you're ready. Let's talk.